make sure that you start opening yourself up to the idea of being substance free. Because as long as you're in the obsession, it doesn't matter what the vice, your brain is still operating in a different way, and being substance free means that it allows your brain to be free long enough to start utilizing some other skills. And right now you're still caught in the thick of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's gonna keep you isolated as well. I mean, when you stop using substances, you'll be able to reach out to people more. And even if you're 11 years sober from cocaine, that doesn't matter. If you go to a meeting and say, look, I haven't been to meetings for a long time. In that sense, I am a bit of a newcomer. Like Dee said, people will put their arms around you.
Yeah. Colleen, does that sound like a good plan? Does that help you?
There's always, Narcotics Anonymous.
There's that too, yeah.
Yeah. There's NA, there's AA, there's CA. It doesn't matter where you go. But, you're my people. And you need to be around your own people, that are speaking your language and that know what it's like to have that brain in your mind that's telling you that when things get rough, it would be so much easier just to smoke a joint and stay home and isolate. But that's the disease. That's what it's saying. It's so much easier if it can keep you isolated in that little cocoon, feeding it stuff. It doesn't matter what you're feeding it. You need to be around people like me who speak your language so you don't feel so alone. Because what you're going through is making complete sense to me,
Colleen, I sure hope that helps. Is there anything else that we can do for you tonight?
Well, I have a lot of physical problems too. And it's, they're telling me, one doctor tells me 7.5 months she'll be dead. Another doctor tells me, no, it's not going to happen. And it seems like they just don't know. And it's neuropathy. And I've done so many drugs in my life. And I guess I became diabetic and had a bad diet and things happen. So I guess it's the physical and mental problems and addiction problems as well. So I've really got a lot on my plate.
You do. Do you feel the need for a crisis further?
No.
Are you okay?
I feel good. I'm looking at the 3 ladies on the desk there, and I'm feeling a lot calmer.
Oh, I'm so glad, and I'm glad we're here for you. And Colleen, listen, honey, I want you to hang on right now, and I have to go to a commercial break, but I would like you to talk to our wonderful call screener, and she's going to give you another telephone number that maybe you might be able to reach out to as well if you feel the need to talk, Colleen. I think that might be important because we're only here once a week, and that you had more support in your life. So, sweetie, hang on, and our call screener is going to take over this phone call right now. Colleen, God bless, and you look after yourself, and we are always here. And please give us a call back next week and let us know how you're doing, okay? We're going to take another short break here on Living Clean, Living Well, but when we come back, more from Dr. Tarman and Dee Christensen.
I've been through multiple treatment centers with my addiction, fighting it for the last 10 years, 17 detoxes, 3 different treatment centers. But they put me into counseling and everything here after my detox, which was the smartest thing I could have ever done. I got the real demons out of me that I wasn't able to do over the last 10 years with all those other detoxes, all those other treatment centers, from private ones to government ones. And this place has actually given me my life back.
Hello, I'm Ellen Campbell, the CEO and founder of the Canadian Centre for Abuse Awareness. As a charity, we depend on viewers such as yourself to support the programs for First Nations, women and children, anti-bullying, and elder abuse. I invite you to visit our website, see what you can do to share. Any donation over $20 will receive a tax receipt. Thank you so much for all your support.
You're watching Living Clean, Living Well live here on CTS. We are so glad that you have allowed us into your homes once again this Sunday. We're Canada's only live interactive television talk show that deals with addictions and substance abuse and going through trauma and all sorts of things that we are forced to deal with in our lives. And we're so glad to be with you once again. My guests are Dr. Vera Tarman from Renascent and Dee Christensen, who is the editor-in-chief from Recovery Wire magazine. We've had lots of phone calls tonight. We are talking about, we're kicking off the holiday season. I put it out there at the beginning of the show. If you have some ideas about what works for you to get through the temptations of this season, please pick up that phone tonight and let us know. And as always, if you have any general questions, comments, our phone lines are open to you as well. Let's go back to our phone lines. Line 7, calling in from Oakville tonight is Dave. Dave, you've been very patient. Thank you for waiting. It's your turn now. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
I just tuned in to the show to see you, Dr. Tarman. My personal recovery began about 15 months ago, where I did meet you, Dr. Tarman, and then entered Renaissance. And I'm happy to say that I'm sober now about 15 months.
Great.
My comment is in regard to sponsorship. What I'd like to say is that, of course, it is important to have a sponsor, as I got one as I left Renaissance. But recently I became a sponsor myself, and I wanted to comment on the importance of being a sponsor. Because I had a great experience today. I went to visit my sponsee in recovery, and the fact that he's doing so well, and I want to comment on how much it helps me in my personal recovery to see the miracle of recovery in someone else that I'm working with closely help me so much is also important from the sponsorship point angle. So I just want to comment on how important it is to be a sponsor, not only have one, but to be one.
Oh, that's great.
So great.
Yeah, Dave, thank you so much for calling in. First of all, to say that it's always so nice for me to hear when somebody's doing well 15 months later when I saw them at the very beginning. But, I hope, Colleen, that you're still listening, because my guess is that one of the reasons why you might be afraid to ask for help is that you think that you're going to burden somebody. But, as Dave is saying, no, you're giving back as well, because the sponsor will get something from your call. I don't know.
It's so true. I don't know about you, Dave, but when I started sponsoring, it was like it turbo boosted my recovery. Like it was, however much recovery I had, it supercharged it, because suddenly you have these people that are looking to you for input, and it's making you want to apply yourself even more to your own recovery. It's such a blessing.
It's like what we were saying earlier. You have great advice, but you have to start listening to it. So it forces you to listen to your own advice.
Exactly. Exactly. What a great comment.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, thanks so much for calling in tonight and sharing that. That's great, because it goes back to our phone call that we had with Bob as well earlier on the show. Yeah. It's still it's still bothering me a little bit about trying to find a sponsor. And it seems that Bob's friend is either maybe unwilling, because coming up to that 90-day mark that they were talking about that she can't seem to get past, but the fact that she can't find one, I'm just very, very curious what your thoughts are. Like, I'm not in the recovery community. I always say I'm just the TV traffic cop, and I'm so glad to be here with you, providing my job, television. Very well, but tell me, from the recovery community, is it difficult to find a sponsor?
Well, that's a relative. That's relative. What I would say is that it depends on what your aim is. For me, what I would say, more importantly, it's important to work through the steps. So if you're not in a place where you feel ready to reach out to someone to ask them to be your sponsor, for whatever reason that's frightening you, because there are hundreds and thousands, like if not millions of people in recovery around the world. So the idea that there is not a surplus of people available is impossible, and being a sponsor is part of the 12 steps. So there is availability, but if something's holding you back, what you could do instead is ask someone to take you through the steps. It's sort of a less invasive way, a less committal way to get what you need, because that's really the important thing, is to learn how to live in recovery and to learn how to do the steps. So that's a great second option.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I hear people saying when they're reluctant to get a sponsor is they want somebody who is smarter than them, has a better job, does better, and they can't find somebody, especially people who are very intellectual. They think, well, I want somebody who's at my level, and you don't have to be. You just have to have somebody who's learned how to be sober and learned how to live a good life with sobriety.
Let's go back to our phone lines now. Calling in from Toronto tonight is Terry on line 5. Hi there, Terry. You're live on our show. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you? My question is for Dr. Tarman. I'm in and out of recovery, and unfortunately right now I'm not in recovery. And what I have a problem with right now is some of the effects I'm feeling from my long-term addiction are starting to feel that I'm never going to be able to recover. I mean, I know the solution to stop, but what my question is there some kind of time where you should start feeling effects of feeling better? Because I'm almost feeling to the point now where it's almost too late, and it discourages me from getting clean, because when I think that I'm never ever going to feel better physically, I think it's too late, if that makes any sense. And I know that's not the case, but I know Dr. Tarman probably has some inspiring words about how you could start for better.
I don't think it's ever too late to try to go into recovery. It's possible. It's possible that there might be some damage that's not reversible. But I'll bet you that in recovery, you will get back enough that you'll be able to live a full and happy life. But sometimes it takes a while to get to that place. And if you're trying to do it alone, this is why we really stress don't do it alone. Because that first 3 or 4 months is sometimes bitter. That's the time when people think, oh my God, it's too late. I mean, I got to tell you, sometimes it takes up to a year to feel okay, which is why we again say don't do this alone, because you'll have somebody like a sponsor that will say, hang in there, it's going to get better. It might take another month, but it's going to get better. But bottom line, it's never too late. I've seen people at the age of 70, 75 get sober, coming in through Renaissance at 75.
That's all.
Yeah.
Dave, did you want to comment?
I guess all that I would say is just that I didn't actually believe it would work until probably like year 2 or 3. So. My belief that things were going to get well was like that was beside the point. What I was doing wasn't working, and it was only making matters worse. So I didn't come to some conclusion where I thought, you know what, I believe this is going to happen for me. No, to be honest with you, didn't. I didn't have any delusions of grandeur. I actually thought it wasn't going to go anywhere. But, it was like...
How honest of you.
Yeah. I may as well start going right, because going left isn't working. What else do I have to do? And there are more people on the right side that seem to be happier than the people on the left. That's really how romantic the decision was. And I'll have 8 years clean on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
So,
congratulations.
Thanks.
Christmas Eve.
I know, what a weird sober day.
The silly season,
I know, the silly season.
Hey, Terry, I hope that the comments from my panelists tonight have helped you, and I hope that you keep watching our show as well and use this as a resource for you. And thanks again for picking up that phone tonight. Time for another short break. The time is just flying tonight. Yeah. Holy cow. I'm going, what? Another break? But yes, it's time. A short break, and we will be back with more of your phone calls because we got them lining up. Tonight we're talking to Dr. Tarman and Dee Christensen. We'll be right back.
It's scary to think that you're going to live the rest of your life without drugs and alcohol when it's all you've depended on. But there is hope. I knew I couldn't do it alone, and treatment allowed me the chance to ask for the help that I needed in order to believe that I could live a sober life. I got the help and support that I needed, and even now that I've left, I still have that support there.
Hello, I'm Ellen Campbell, the CEO and founder of the Canadian Centre for Abuse Awareness. As a charity, we depend on viewers such as yourself to support the programs for First Nations, women and children, anti-bullying, and elder abuse. I invite you to visit our website, see what you can do to share. Any donation over $20 will receive a tax receipt. Thank you so much for all your support.
Statistics state that it is likely you know a victim of abuse. It could be a friend, a relative, a colleague. It could even be you. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys will be sexually abused before they reach the age of 18. Please give them hope. Help us make stop. Go to abusehurts.com and give to the Canadian Centre for Abuse Awareness.
Welcome back, everybody. My guest tonight, as ever, the wonderful Dr. Vera Tarman from Renaissance, and Dee Christensen, who's wonderful in her own way, too, from Recovery Wire magazine. And just before we get back to your phone calls, I just wanted to mention Center for Abuse Awareness is the presenting sponsor of this show here on CTS. They're doing their big fundraising campaign, folks. If you can join in, you just tune in to Q107, the mighty Q, John Derringer and his great morning team, and they are doing a big fundraiser for us from December 1st to the 13th, and it is wonderful. And I'm really hopeful that perhaps you might be able to tune in and hear about a way that you might be able to help some families in need this Christmas. Phone lines now. Let's go to St. Catharines now. Calling in on line 6 is Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Go ahead. Have you got a question or a comment for Dr. Tarman or Dee tonight?
I've got a comment about safety for the holidays.
Good.
In recovery, especially, I quit November 6th, 26. And I was really worried the first year about the holiday season. It was kind of funny when Dee mentioned that she quit on the 24th.
Yeah.
And I found it very, very important to have an escape plan for those functions that there was going to be a lot of alcohol for, have the excuse ready in mind, know what was going to trigger me, and have a way out the door, ride home, somebody supportive to get me out of a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
And even with my own family, like I've never had to leave Christmas dinner to go to a 12-step meeting, but there are a lot of times where I left early.
Yeah.
Just because there was so much alcohol around.
Yeah.
And it's important to give yourself permission to do that, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah, I know there was one gentleman that called. He said his car is always parked down the street, so he's never getting blocked in. And he says, I make no apologies. When I've had enough and I just don't want to watch it anymore, I'm to that car and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Right, Sharon?
Correct. I mean, there's so many people that stress about it so early.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sharon, what works for you the best getting through holidays?
I stay with my 12-step group, always have a phone number with me, and I do. I plan on leaving early. I drive myself, and I leave when I have to.
Yeah.
Like,
And Sharon, don't you find that the support you get in the meetings, so many of us are going through it, that for me now, Christmas has become the kind of energy in the rooms equal, if not a little more so, than the Christmas I have at home sometimes. That actually become more the holiday celebration for me.
it is for me, too. It's far more spiritual for me than it is at home. And
Right on.
they are my family of choice.
Yeah. Hey,
So
Sharon,
there's people
Dee said it best. She just said, right on.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Thanks for calling in tonight. Let's go now to line 1, and Dorothy's been waiting on the line patiently from Hamilton. Hi, Dorothy. It's your turn now. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to ask Dee, did Dee ever work at Mohawk College, do it editing? Do you remember doing my paper for recovery on drugs, Dee?
Did I ever work where?
Mohawk College.
I don't think I did, but it's possible someone with an equally amazing haircut did. Is that possible, Dorothy? I am a writer, though, but I don't think I did.
That was Mohawk College that you mentioned, right, Dorothy?
Yeah, and she edit papers in the English department.
No, but it sounds like whoever she is was fabulous.
It's probably a job you'd like to have.
Yeah, it would be one of the jobs I would like to have. So if that position is still available, you can absolutely forward me. And the next time you need a paper, Dorothy, I will be happy to edit it for you.
You know what? Everybody says you've got a twin out there, and I get
My
that.
doppelganger.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I get that a lot too. Do you get that, Dr. Tarman? Where it
I
says,
have, yeah.
I've seen you before.
Unbelievable thought. There's apparently somebody in Toronto.
That looks
Yeah.
just like you, yeah.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people say, my sister looks just like you. You know, it's funny. Yeah, you're right. We've got our doppelgangers out there.
Yeah.
So thanks, Dorothy. Thanks for checking in, but it wasn't Dee.
Wasn't me.
Let's go now to line 8, and Ray's calling in from Toronto. Hi there, Ray. Have you got a question or a comment tonight?
Good evening. How are you?
We're doing well.
And Merry Christmas to the three of you. First of all, I've had the opportunity to meet Dr. Vera Tarman this summer. We were involved in a recovery day down at Allen Gardens, and I've also had the opportunity to meet Dee as well through Recovery Wired magazine. There's a few friends of mine. We started playing music at Clean and Sober dances, and we call ourselves Serenity Sound Crew. And I just want to thank Dee for advertising that in her magazine. But I just want to piggyback on something that one of your last callers had mentioned, and I think it's very important for us in recovery. I'm just a little over 4 years clean and sober, and it's very important that we're aware of our surroundings when we do go to our families' events, because they are what we like to call in the rooms normies. They're able to have the occasional drink and that, and when we're involved with everything that's going on and getting caught up in all the hoopla and everything, it's very important that we do have that out. That we have that phone number that we need to call our sponsor, call another member of the fellowship, and leave if we have to, and not feel any shame or guilt or for doing that. I think it's also very important throughout the month of December that we stay close to the fellowship, being whichever fellowship that it is that you're with. There's a lot of gratitude candlelight meetings that go on throughout the month of December, and I think a lot of service work is very important to it. Kind of keeps you in touch with what it is that helps us stay and get to where we are today. So I just wanted to share that with you and your panel there tonight.
Thank you. Hey, Ray, before you go, give another shout out to the name of your band. What is it?
Serenity Sound Crew.
Dee knows.
We're SSC, which stands for Serenity Sound Crew, and Dee can touch on a little bit of that for you. And we're very grateful to be blessed to have this opportunity to do this, because what it allows people in early recovery to do is, because a lot of us, we're just used to drinking and doing drugs and going out to a club. But when we can go into a very good environment and be clean and sober and realize we can still have just as much fun clean and sober, that's what it's really all about. And we're just grateful that we're able to allow people to experience that in recovery.
Yeah.
And we're grateful that you called in tonight, Ray. Thank you so much. Let's go now to line 2, and Dave's calling in from Midland. Hello, Dave. Good to hear from you.
Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to touch a little bit on sponsorship. That fellow that called in and he's not in recovery. I mean, that's great that he's supportive of that person he knows, but she definitely has to find a sponsor. And like Dee said, there's no